Good day, everybody. I am Elatazar Ben Yasher Allah El, Chief Content Creator and Trustee for Moorish Nationality Card Services. I thank you for allowing me to take up so much of your very valuable time. As you can see on the screen here, what we are looking at is an improvement on our most popular Moorish National Identification Card. As you can see here, picture just popped up. This is the current old and current and old design, depending on how you want to look at it. We just haven't uploaded it onto the site and made it available as of yet. But this is the old design. And I know a lot of Moors like this design. I liked it when I first, made it. But it's, to me, I knew something was off about it. And it's really my fault. It's really my fault. There was something that was off about it to me, and I knew it needed some improvement. So what I did was, before anyone wants to try to say that we're copying their design, I made sure that I finally fully utilized the resources that have been made available to me, and that is the 2016 American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators driver's license ID card design standard. So pretty much what this is a manual that tells you specifically how your card is supposed to be designed so that it is uniform internationally and nationally, or nationally, whatever the case may be. All right. So what I did was I wanted to make sure that we created a Moorish National Identification Card that was up to Real ID Act standard. So going along with this American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators guide, it'll bring us closer to making sure that our cards are up to Real ID Act standard and making sure that it's uniform across the board. So we haven't perfected it as yet, but I think that we're doing better than a lot of people. It is what it is. All right. So as you can see, let's go back. This is the current old design, current and old. All right. And this here is the new design. So if you look at it, if you are a holder of a state issued driver's license or a state issued identification card, then you'll see that the way that this design is laid out, it's more uniform to that. It doesn't even matter what state you're in. You can see that it's more uniform to, what's being issued by the states nationally and internationally. All right. So before anyone wants to come out and say that, they're Moorish Nationality Card Services, they're copying our design. No, our design, if we're copying anybody, we're copying the guidelines that have come from the American Association of Motor Vehicle Administrators. It's just as simple as that. We are serious about what we are doing, and we want to make sure that these cards are uniform across the board, and more start dealing more with acceptance instead of being rejected. It's just as simple as that. We have some stripes to earn in this thing. We really do. All right. Now, let's go back here. So as you can see, these are what you call zones or regions. Zones or regions is what they're called. I get them mixed up sometimes, so bear with me. But each zone or each region is supposed to have a specific type of data attached to it. So zone or region 1 is where the family name goes, right? Zone or region 2 is where the so-called first name goes. Zone or region 8 is where your mailing location is at. Zone 3, date of birth. Zone 4D would be the ID number or the driver's license number. Zone 4A is the date it was issued. Zone 4A or region 4A is the expiration date. All right. So this is all uniform. Even though when you go from different states and their identification cards look different, all of them are uniform to the zones. So for instance, zone 8 might be where zone 1 is, but zone 8 is going to have the same uniform data, which is the mailing location or the so-called address of the person who the card has been issued to. All right. So get a good look at it. As you can see, we are trying to make these more universal. It's just as simple as that, and bring them up to Real ID Act standard as much as possible. All right, because we are serious about what we're doing. So eventually this will be the new design. When we make that available to you guys, you will be the first to know. So what I would say is, if you want to be one of the first to know about this new improved design, then what you're going to want to do is go into the description of this video, or the comments of this video, or the caption of this video, depending on where you're viewing it at. Click that very first link, subscribe to our Moorish Nationality Card Services list. That way, when we have any promotions, discounts, any new card designs, any new blog posts, any new video posts, wherever we may be posting them at, or anything on content dealing with the Moorish community, you want to sign up and subscribe to that list. That way we can make sure that you are the first to know. It's just as simple as that. All right. So link is in the comment, the description, the caption, depending on where you may be viewing this at. Now, the subject matter that I want to move on to is the international driving permit, international driver's license, as some people like to call it. The reason why I want to go into that particular direction is because lately we have been getting a lot of questions from Moors about whether or not we issue out driver's licenses for Moors. And let me first answer your question and say, no, we do not issue out driver's license for Moors. We're not planning on issuing out driver's license for Moors anytime soon. Reason being is we don't push the doctrine of the right to travel without a driver's license. Not saying that you don't actually have that right, but that's not something that we push because it's information that's too readily available on the internet. And what happens is you find people whose driver's license are getting ready to expire. They just came into this Moorish information, and all of a sudden they want to let the driver's license expire, not renew them, and try to exercise this right to travel stuff. We don't want to be responsible for people going out here doing things they're not knowledgeable of and getting in trouble. So you don't really see us getting much into that direction. Now, we've been getting questions about the international driver's license. Moors are asking, well, why don't you issue the international driving permit or the international driver's license? And the thing is, to us, it's really like an oxymoron or a going against the grain type thing for us to get involved into something like that. And reason being is because you see people arguing and debating online all the time, whether it's Moors or Europeans of the sovereign citizen movement, right? They're always saying they have a right to travel without a license, which is permission. And if we look here, we can see the word permit. It's common sense. It deals with permission. So if your whole thing is you have a right to travel without a license, get into an automobile that has an engine, 4 wheels, you turn the ignition on with the key and all that stuff, right? You know, what they call a car or a motor vehicle in their jurisdiction. Then it makes no sense that you would inquire of still having someone issue you a license or a permit. It's honestly, no offense to anybody, it's ass backwards for you to argue and stand upon the principle of having the right to travel without a driver's license and then want someone else outside of the Europeans to still issue you out permission. Doesn't matter where it's coming from. It's still, if it's going to be called a driver's license or a permit or whatever the case it may be, it's still holding the definition at law of being permission. It's just as simple as that. Paid for permission. And if you're going to use the case law that the argument, this is not verbatim, but there's a case law out there where it says the state cannot convert a right into a privilege, license it, and then attach a fee to it. If that is your argument, then when you're coming to Moorish Nationality Card Services, you shouldn't be inquiring about us issuing out driver's licenses or international driving permits. It's commerce, right? So if you're going to be dealing in commerce, then I'm saying if you're going to be offering a service to the public, right, then you need to be licensed by a competent licensing authority, and you need to be insured and or bonded. Just as simple as that. That's the law. Okay. That's what a driver does. All right. Now, let's get further into this international driving permit, because I need people to get a proper comprehension of this international driving permit. One of the first things that I have to make clear here is that in order to get a legit international driving permit, you first have to have issued to you a state issued driver's license. I've known that for years. So if you're inquiring, when you're coming to us, if you're inquiring on getting an international driving permit, we don't do those. Okay. We believe in the right to travel, even though we don't push the doctrine and try to give you processes on how to exercise that right. We believe in the right to travel at Moorish Nationality Card Services. But the thing is, in order for us to issue out international driving permits to you Moors, you would, of course, first have to have a driver's license issued to you by the state BMV, DMV, depending on where you domicile. Now, you don't have to believe me. So this is what we're going to do. Right now, we're on the AAA website. All right. Yes, the AAA. All right. And as you can see here, they have a section on their website dealing with the international driving permit. All right. Now, let's see what they say here. All right, let's just read a little bit. Planning to rent a car and venturing out into the world on your own. Plan to obtain an international driving permit before you go. Why carry an IDP? So it says your IDP is a valid form of identification in 150 countries worldwide and contains your name, photo, and driver information. It translates your identification information into 10 languages, so it speaks the language even if you don't. Most countries highly recommend international driving permit. So basically what the international driving permit is, it is a translation of the already issued driver's license, the already state issued driver's license. That's what it is. It's a translation of that particular driver's license. It's not a standalone document. All right. So, it says, let's go on. Let's see what else they have to say. All right. Now, how to apply for one. It says AAA is one of only 2 private entities in the so-called U.S. authorized by the U.S. Department of State to issue an IDP. So there's only 2 private entities in the so-called United States that are authorized to issue out an IDP. I just want to make that clear. We don't have the authorization to do that at Moorish Nationality Card Services. Also, we don't have international compacts or agreements, international contracts with the different countries out there that would allow us to issue out these cards, international driving permits, so that you could utilize them when you're traveling internationally. We don't have the authorization nor the contracts. All right. Now it says here, download and fill out an application, bring it to your nearest AAA branch office. You need 2 original passport pictures, also available at AAA. And you also need a valid U.S. driver's license, and you would pay $20 for the fee, and you're ready to go. So as long as you have a valid U.S. driver's license, all right, 2 original passport photos, and 20 Federal Reserve notes, you can get an IDP or international driving permit rather cheaply. But the thing that I need Moors to focus on, especially those who are pro right to travel, operating an automobile or traveling in an automobile, having full control over the automobile without a license, then it doesn't work for you, because you would have to have a valid U.S. driver's license. So if you don't have a valid U.S. driver's license and you find yourself being a holder of an international driver's permit, then your international driver's permit is not legit. It's not legit. Okay? Just as simple as that. Only 2 places in the so-called United States, at the so-called United States, that are authorized by the U.S. Department of State to issue an IDP. I want to make that clear. All right? Let's keep going on. So what else are they saying here? Your completed IDP application form, 2 photocopy of both sides. Let's see. This is what they're saying you need. So you have to complete your IDP application form. You have to have 2 original passport pictures, each signed on the back, $20 for the permit fee, and a photocopy of both sides of your driver's license. It's just as simple as that. So again, if you find yourself talking about you exercise the right to travel, you don't deal with driver's licenses, but you end up having in your possession an international driving permit, then you are fraud. It's just as simple as that. All right. Now, AAA could be incorrect, right? All right. AAA could be correct. Let's go somewhere else. All right. So this is Trip Savvy, how to get an international driver's permit. Okay, so what do they say? An international driver's permit allows you to drive a vehicle in another country as long as you also have a valid driver's license. What did it say? As long as you also have a valid driver's license issued by your state. It is also recognized as a valid form of identification in over 175 countries, as well as by many major car rental companies internationally. Getting an international driver's permit, sometimes incorrectly called a license, can take anywhere from a day to a few weeks, depending on whether you're going through walk-in processing or applying via mail. So make sure to plan ahead. All right, so that's them. So it says here, the American Automobile Association, that's AAA, and the American Automobile Touring Alliance. There are only 2 locations in the United States that issue these documents. There are only 2 locations in the United States that issue these documents. The American Automobile Association and the American Automobile Touring Alliance. All right. It's just as simple as that. It is really just as simple as that. All right. Now, let's go on to somewhere else because we could be incorrect. All right. Now, this is internationaldrivinginstitution.com. Here we go. What information do I need to provide in the application? Let's see what they say. You will need to fill out our online form and submit required documents, a copy of your current driver's license, and a passport size photo. So that's why we at Moorish Nationality Card Services do not issue out driver's licenses, international driving permits, or even allude to the fact that we do that, because if we did, it would be fraud on our part. Why? Because we are not given or delegated the authority by the United States Department of State, and we are not AAA or this other organization. All right. We are not them. As simple as that. And we do not have contracts with the other international jurisdictions that would allow us to issue out those cards and them be actually valid at law. It's just as simple as that. Now, what I need for Moors to comprehend, those especially who's pro driver or, pro right to travel and everything, what I need for you to comprehend is that it's hard enough getting these Moorish national identification cards acknowledged, recognized, accepted when we're going out into the real world, even though they are based on common law, right of association, right of conscience, the right to practice your religion. It's hard enough to get them accepted. And due to them being common law, you can best believe that a Moorish national identification card is definitely more legit than an international driving permit. Especially, right, if it's not an international driving permit that has been issued to you by AAA or the other organization that has the authority to delegate those. All right. Now, I know some people are going to see this video and say, well, because this just popped up in my mind. I know some people are going to see this video and say, well, he's hating because such and such is issuing out international driving permits. Honestly, no, I'm not. It's not hating at all. I really get this question on a daily basis. I just had a few Moors after they've received their Moorish national identification cards in the mail. Now they say, well, now we need the international driving permit. So we wanted to make it clear that we are not getting caught up in any of that whatsoever at all. It's no hating or anything at all. We just wanted to make sure that we could answer the question for those who have been inquiring and give you a reason as to why we're not doing or we don't partake in those things that you're inquiring of. We don't do right to travel cards, and we don't do international driving permits. Those subject matters are too touchy, at least on what we think. And if you want to exercise the right to travel, then you need to be studying that so that when it's time for you to go to court and, file writs and things of this nature, you're up to snuff. It's just as simple as that. So that's where we stand as far as the driver's license or the international driving permit and the right to travel here at Moorish Nationality Card Services. Again, I thank you for allowing me to take up so much of your very valuable time. Be on the lookout for that newly improved enhanced BMV-style enhanced Moorish National Identification Card. Be on the lookout for that. And as well, if you want to make sure that you're brought up to speed and you're updated, you want to be the first to be updated when we finally make it available for you at MoorishNationalityCardServices.com. And what you need to do is go into the description, the caption, or the comments of this particular video, depending on where you're viewing it at. Click that link. It'll take you over to a page to where you can fill out a form. Make sure that you agree to the fact that you subscribe to the list. Once you do that, then you will most definitely be added to the list, and we will be able to communicate with you and let you know when this new design is going to hit the market. There's some few other changes I want to make. I'm really not feeling some of this stuff up here, so there's a few other changes that I'm going to make, but I wanted to make sure that we kept you guys up to date. All right. Salat to Zabin Yasharla El, Chief Content Creator and Trustee for Moorish Nationality Card Services, and I am up out of here. Peace.